Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Let's take a deep breath in. Let it out slowly and say, ah. Oh, thank God I'm alive. Ah. Oh. A miracle happened today. Was I aware? Did I even care? A miracle happened today. And did I pause enough to find a way to say, ah, a way to say, a way to say, oh, thank God I've arrived. A way to say, ah, a way to say, a way to say, oh, thank God I'm alive. A coincidence happened today. Was this circumstance happening by chance? A coincidence happened today. And did I pause enough to find a way to say, ah, a way to say, a way to say, oh, thank God I've arrived. A way to say, ah, a way to say, a way to say, oh, thank God I'm alive. A way to sanctify the time to remember that on our journey we are not alone. A way to not allow my senses to be dulled to the wonders I will be shown. Ah, oh, ah, oh. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So good to be back with you this month of February. We're going to begin with a newer song called Adonai Oz. May God give strength to all our people and bless us with shalom. And the words in Hebrew will be on the screen shared, and it goes like this. La 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 ya la la Adonai Oz le'amo itein Adonai yevarech et amo Adonai Oz le'amo itein Adonai yevarech et amo Shalom Shalom. Let's try it together. Adonai Oz le'amo itein Adonai yevarech et amo Adonai Oz le'amo itein Adonai yevarech et amo Shalom Shalom. Let's sing a new song to God, Shiru Shir Chadash. And a song we've been singing for many years by Julie Silver, Shiru Shir, Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash. In your prayer books on page 4, I believe. Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Take out your tambourines. Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash. I will sing unto God a new song.
Shabbat Shalom. Here we are again. It's such a pleasure to have our monthly service. And I'm having a little incident here with this light in my eyes. Okay. This is an interesting month for February. We called it Love Shabbat but I kind of moved away a little bit from the theme of love after going to my retreat, my in-home retreat. They were very serious about not calling it a Zoom retreat. At-home retreat seems to be the new way of saying it, the correct way of talking about staying home. They really tried to have us create an atmosphere as if we were away from home. I have to say it didn't work for me. I don't know if it worked for anybody else either. A lot of times there were kids in the background and parents and dogs and phones. It was really hysterical. Anyhow, the month of February, we have three main events in February. We have President's Day, we have St. Valentine's Day, and on Thursday night, February 25th, we have Purim begins with the reading of the Megillah. So I'm curious if you can think for a moment, what do these three things have in common? President's Day, Valentine's Day, and the reading of the Megillah. And what they have in common, I gave you a moment, is actually what the theme of my retreat was. What they have in common is the concept of emunah, of faith. So that was the theme of 3 days of study and prayer and meditation, the practice of faith. So let's talk about the presidents. Who in God's name would want to be a president of this country? And we think things might be a little challenging now, but they've always been challenging, and especially at the beginning, at the birth of the country. When you start reading history and reading different perspectives on history, it was a chaotic, wild time. So what did it take for people to actually want to become the president? Well, they had to have faith. They had to have emunah. They had to believe in our country and its betterment, and believe that they could make a difference and improve people's lives and uplift a country to do good and to be creative and make a change in the world. Faith. St. Valentine's Day, it's all about relationships, having faith in one another. Who would be in a relationship unless there's trust and faith? Bitachon, emunah. And when we buy presents and spend money on cards and whatever, we're saying to someone, I believe in you. And this is for the long haul. Let's make an investment in who we are together and our future. And of course, the Megillah. Mordecai had faith in God. Mordecai had faith in the destiny of the Jewish people. Mordecai imbued that faith into Esther and helped her find her strength to act. Emunah, faith. I'm curious if any of you find other themes, please let me know. So I began the retreat with this poem that I sent to you in the e-bulletin. We studied Israeli poets. One of them, of course, was Zelda, who is still so popular today, even though she died in 1914 to 1984. She didn't start publishing until she was 56. Very fascinating, interesting woman. As I study more, I think it's time to have a class on her and some of the other women poets who are the mother voices of Israel. Even today, there are new songs being written to the words and poetry of Zelda, and she's still being taught and studied regularly. The younger generation likes her. Religious Jews, secular Jews, everyone loves her. Zelda. And this is the poem that we started the retreat with. And I have to tell you, it was the way I was feeling for months during the pandemic. And maybe you were feeling this way too. But by the end of the retreat, this poem really wasn't my poem anymore. It had been transformed into more optimism and hope and faith. And that's what we'll do today. We're going to take this moment here to start. And by the end of Lev Eisha services, there will be, I promise you, a transformation. And you'll leave today uplifted and full of joy. The name of the poem is You Hid Your Soul from 1967. Zelda at this point is in her 60s. She's been widowed. She's pretty much alone. She's been housebound for a while. She doesn't go out much. And she is really struck by how lonely she feels much of the time. And though she's religious and performs rituals regularly, she feels cut off from God. You hid your soul. You hid your soul from me. And within me, there no longer is the sound of the full river. that overflows its banks. My life has been severed from song, and I shall stand in the cleft, confounded, without sun, without moon, and without candle. You have hidden your soul from me, and the bread on the table is dry and has grown stale. So if any of you have been feeling like a dry, stale piece of bread, let's continue now with Ma Tovu and the rest of the service to get some moisture in, to make this bread come alive and be moist and delicious, and to wake up our souls. We continue on page 6 with Ma Tovu.
And we'll do our melody that if you feel like standing up and moving around by Noam Katz. No. Mama tovu, oh halecha, oh halecha, ya Yaakov, mishkenotecha, mishkenotecha, Yisrael, v'ani berov chastecha, ahavo v'techa, אשתחווה אל היכל קודשך ביראתך מה טובו אוהליך אוהליך יא יעקב משכנותיך משכנותיך ישראל Adonai ahavti me'on beitecha umikom mishkan kevodecha v'ani eshtachave ve'ekra evracha lifnei Adonai si mama tovu halecha mama ako ish mishkenotecha mishkenotecha Israel v'ani tefilati לך אדוני את רצון, אלוהים ברוב חסדך, ענני באמת אישך, ענני באמת אישך, ממה טובו אוהליך, אוהליך, יא יעקב, משכנותיך, משכנותיך.
We continue with Elohai Nishama, page 9 and page 10.
Elohai, Elohai, Nishama, Shenatata bihi Tehorai. Elohai, Elohai, Nishama, Shenatata bihi Tehorai. Ata berata, ata yetzarta, ata nefachta bi, ve'ata mishamra, mishamra bekirbi. Elohai, Elohai, Nishama, Shenatata bihi Tehorai.
If you can, please rise. We're going to continue in Hebrew and English with Birkot HaShachar, pages 10 and 11.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lesechvi binah, להבחין בין יום ובין לילה.
Blessed are you, eternal heart God, ruler of the universe, who has planted mind and instinct within every living being.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzalmo.
Who have made me in your image.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael.
Who has made me a Jew.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani bat chorim.
Who has made me to be free.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hokeach ivrim.
Who opens the eyes of the blind.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arumim.
Who provides clothes for the naked.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim.
Who brings freedom to the captive.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zokeh kifufim.
Whose power lifts up the fallen. And we go to the end on page 11.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanotein leyaef koach.
Who gives strength to the weary.
Ashreinu matov chelkeinu, umanaim goraleinu, umayafa yerushateinu.
How goodly is our portion, how pleasant our lot, how beautiful our heritage. Please remain standing with Baruch She'amar, page 12.
Baruch she'amar, brucha she'amra, v'haya olam. Baruch she'amar, brucha she'amra, v'haya olam. Blessed is he. Blessed is she, blessed are we who speak and are heard. Blessed is he, blessed is she, blessed are we who speak and are heard.
Rabbi, you're on mute.
Please be seated. We're going to invite Judith Golden, a longtime generous supporter of Lev Eisha. She's going to read that wonderful poem on the bottom of page 12, Teach Me to Praise. And I have to tell you, we studied this poem. It is not attributed. It's terrible. We didn't put the attribution is. It's written in, of course, in Hebrew, and this is the wonderful translation by Leah Goldberg, one of the mothers of poetry in Israel. Judith.
Teach me, God, to pray, to praise the splendor of ripe fruit, the wonder of a wrinkled leaf, the freedom to see, to feel, to breathe, to know, to hope, and even to know grief. Teach my lips blessing, song, and praise when you renew your time each night, each dawn, so that my days will not repeat my yesterdays, to save my life from mere routine of all days gone.
Thank you, Judith. And now we're going to praise. Please turn to page number 15. We continue with Hallelujah, page 15.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. hallelujah, 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 el bekocho, hallelujah, 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 birkia huzo, hallelujah, 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 big borotav, hallelujah, 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 kerov kulo, hallelujah, 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 beteka shofar, hallelujah, 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 benevo bechinor, hallelujah, 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 betovu machol, hallelujah, 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 beminim behukav, hallelujah, 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 b'tzilzalei shama, hallelujah, 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 b'tzilzalei truah, kol hanshama tehallel, hallelujah, hallelujah, kol hanshama tehallel, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
Beautiful. Hallelujah. And I hope all of you have your tambourines and are getting up and moving around and enjoying our time together here. Oh, I already feel lifted up. I hope none of you still feel like a stale piece of bread. All of us now have to be freshly warm as if out of an oven. We're going to continue now with Am I Awake on page 17. We start, you'll see a sharing in the screen for the words, I think, with maybe not. We start with Noah Aronson's opening to the Baruch Hu, Am I Awake? Please rise for Am I Awake and Baruch Hu.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la העולם, יוצא אור ובורא חושך, עושה שלום ובורא את הכל.
Please be seated. Right after Baruch Hu, we have the prayer called Yotzer Or. We have two prayers before we do the V'ahavta, and this prayer, Yotzer Or, is about creation. After we bring God in and we start our prayers, we ask, who is God? And the first answer is, God is the creator of the world, the bringer in of light. So we have a young, beautiful cantor named Joshua Shorsky, who is coming up with some new tunes that are very popular around the country. And one of the ones is for this prayer called Hame'ira. The words will be shared, and you can use them on the screen. We ask you, it's antiphonal, so there'll be times that we respond and you come in. Try to sing along. It's a prayer thanking God for creating this beautiful world of light and beauty and joy.
Hum ha ha hum ha ha hum ha Let's try that again. Ameira, Ameira, Ameira לארץ ולעדרים עליה ברחמים. Ameira, Ameira, Ameira לארץ ולעדרים עליה, לעדרים עליה ולעדרים עליה. And you respond, ולעדרים עליה, ולעדרים עליה, ולעדרים עליה ברחמים. ובטובה מחדשת בכל יום תמיד, ובטובה מחדשת מעשה בראשית.
Thank you, Cindy. And I hope you tried to sing along. We are going to try to introduce this repeatedly and see if it catches on, a popular melody to the prayer of creation. We invite now another a longtime generous supporter of Lev Eisha, Marion Klein. She's going to do a reading that I chose from a book of prayers by John O'Donohue. Beautiful spiritual prayers in this book, used a lot in many services. Now, this February is not necessarily the new beginning because we started that last month, but with the vaccines coming and with new hope in the air with our new administration, I felt, and also talks about love for February, I felt this was a very appropriate prayer for Marion to tell us, to share with us today, for a new beginning. Please, Marion.
Thank you, Rabbi. For a New Beginning by John O'Donohue. In out of the way places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander, this beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you were ready to emerge. For a long time, it has watched your desire, feeling the emptiness growing inside you, noticing how you will yourself on, still unable to leave what you had outgrown. Though your destination is not clear, you can trust the promise of this opening. Awaken your spirit to adventure. Soon you will be home in a new rhythm, for your soul senses the world that awaits you.
Lovely. Thank you, Marion. And I think this speaks to so many of us. The next few months are going to have many opportunities for opening, for sharing, perhaps to see each other again, going out to a meal. I am so excited about the new beginnings that are coming our way. We're going to continue now with our prayers. Ahava Rabbah. Please turn in your Siddur to page 19.
Ahava Rabbah Avtanu Adonai Eloheinu Chemla Gdola Vitera Kamalta Aleinu Avinu Malkeinu Ba'avur Avotenu Shebatchu Shebatchu Vecha Avinu Malkeinu Vatilamdem Chukei Chaim Ken Techanenu Tlamdenu Avinu Av HaRachaman Amrachem Rachem Aleinu V'ten belibeinu lehavin להבינו להשכיל לשמוע, ללמוד וללמד, לשמור ולעשות, ולקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה, והערננו בתורתך, ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך, ויחד לבבינו לאהבה וליראה את שמך ולא נבוש לעולם ועד ולא נבוש לעולם ועד כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו, נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך. We gather the four corners of our tzitzit together as we continue with Bahavienu. Bahavienu לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ ותוליכנו קוממיות להצנו כי אל פועל ישועות אתה ובנו בחר הקרבתנו לשמך הגדול, סלע באמת והודות לך ולידך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה.
Before we continue, I'm going to ask us to gather ourselves together from all the distractions and places which we are, holding the four corners of the tzitzit, the talit, the tzitzit if you can. Please place your 2 feet firmly on the ground as you sit up tall. And I'm going to ask you to take some deep cleansing breaths. So let's breathe in for 3 counts. And hold for 3 counts. And breathe out slowly from 3 counts. If you can add on 4 counts, that would be great. Breathing in. Hold. And breathing out. I'm going to ask you to pay attention to the in-breath, the holding and the out-breath as I continue for a moment with a meditation. Again, chance to be with yourselves, to go inward. Pay attention if you're distracted. Say, I hear my dog. There's a car on the street. And just say, I'll deal with you later. See if you could just pay attention to the breath and give your mind a rest. Let your mind stop from thinking about so many things all at once. And just be calm. It's time out for the mind, for just paying attention to breath in and breath out. Breath in and breath out. The word for breath in Hebrew is ruach. It's also nishima, which is the same letters of nishama. It's the same letters of our soul. So we breathe into our soul and we breathe out. Breathe in the breath of life and let it go back into the universe. Emunah, faith, love, ahava rabbah. We are loved by an unending love. Breathing in and breathing out. Faith is very primal. It comes from Hebrew words in the Bible about the word omenet has the same letters. A nurturer, the one who took care of babies, the one who held you, nurtured you, took care of you. Breathing in and breathing out. And this relationship is always reciprocal, because just as somebody held you, you held them. Those women and men who took care of children, they themselves were taken care of by the love they received. Emunah is always reciprocal. We feel supported, loved, appreciated, seen, and we give that to others too. So breathe in the love and support you receive, your emunah, and breathe out any sense that you're alone. Breathe in connectedness and community. Breathe in Lev Eisha, and breathe out the sense that you're not seen. Know that you're loved and cared for. Take a few more breaths, sitting quietly. And we'll continue with your eyes closed if you can, slowly, with Listen Israel. There is one God, one fundamental truth of love and justice and kindness in this world. Amen, amen. Listen Israel.
Our God is one. Listen, Israel, Adonai, our God is one. Listen, Israel, Adonai, our God is one. Listen, Israel, Adonai, our God is one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind.
We invite Robin Winston on the screen, who will lead us in the signing for the Via
Love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart, shall be in your heart. Teach them faithfully unto your children. Speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise. Bind them for a sign, bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be a symbol between your eyes. Write them on the doorposts, write them on the doorposts of your house, and upon your gates, and upon your gates. Teach them faithfully unto your children. Speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise, and when you rise, and when you rise. Thank you, Robin.
Thank you, Robin. We continue now with Mi Chamocha. Please turn to page 25.
This melody we really haven't ever done before, by Rick Recht. It goes like this. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh. Nora tehi lo Kodesh. Who is like you? Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? When Moses and the children crossed the sea, they sang to you with songs of joy. Who is like you, Adonai? Mi chamocha, mi chamocha ba'elim, Adonai. Mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh. Mi chamocha ba'elim, Adonai. Mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh.
Thank you, Cindy. We're going to continue now with our standing prayer, the Amidah, a time for your own personal conversation with your God, however you understand your God. Please, if you can, rise. We begin on page 27 together with Cindy. We'll be going to page 29 for Ledor Vador, and then you get a minute or two by yourself, and we'll come back together for Oseh Shalom.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Oh God, open up my lips as I begin to pray. Oh God, open up my lips as I begin to pray. Adonai, sefatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, sefatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekoneh Hakol, Vezocher Chazdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Goel, Livnei V'neihem Leman Shemo, Ve'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ufoket Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei metim atah, Rav le'Hoshia, Mashiva ruach u'morita Hashem. Mechalkel chaim bechesed, Mechayei metim berachamim rabim. Somech noflim verofeh cholim, umatir asurim, Mekayem emunato lishenei afar, michamocha bal givurot, umido melach, melech memit umechayei, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'neiman atah lachayot metim. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayei hametim. We continue with Ledor Vador. Ledor Vador, Ledor Vador, Ledor Vador, nagi godlecha, ulenetzach netzachim, ulenetzach netzachim, kedushatcha nahakdish, v'shivchecha Eloheinu, mipinu lo yamush leolam. עם ועד, כי הם מלך גדול, כי הם מלך גדול, וקדוש אתה. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקיש. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל, האל, הקדוש, הקדוש.
Please feel free to remain standing if you're completing your prayers, or be seated now if you feel you've had your Amidah. We'll continue with Oseh Shalom on page 33.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
Thank you. Yesher Koach, Cindy. We're ready now for the Torah service, and we ask you to turn in your prayer books to page 35, and we use all our creative imagination to imagine we're opening the Ark and taking out the Torah. Vayihi bin Soharon, page 35.
Cindy, I don't think your sound's working.
I'm so sorry, forgot to unmute. ויהי בנשוא אהרון ויאמר משה, קומה אדוני ויפוצו אויביך, וינוסו משנאיך מפניך, כי מציון תצא תורה, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני מירושלים, ברוך שנתן תורה תורה, ברוך שנתן תורה תורה, לעמו ישראל בקדושתו.
We're going to continue now with our first aliyah. This aliyah was given to Irene Perrer, who doesn't seem to be on. I spoke to her yesterday. Irene is co-sponsoring in memory of her late mother, Bessie Waldman's Yortzeit. And she's a generous supporter of Lev Eisha, and I'm so sorry she wasn't able to get on this morning. So we're going to do something very interesting. If you would like to say the Torah blessings for the first aliyah, if Maddie, you can look at the gallery. If you want to raise your hands for the honor of saying the Torah blessings for the first aliyah, just raise your hands. I would call on you. I don't know though how many of you know it so well that you'll speak right away. I see Sarah Schachter's here. Sarah, you could say the blessings. Would you like to do that? Although I am giving you a choice, but
yes, I can do it. Thank you.
I didn't see everybody's hands up. I wonder why. Okay, Sarah, b'vakasha, please say the blessing before the Torah reading, and then I'll continue with the reading.
Okay. Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam vahed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam vahed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natam lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. We are going to be reading today from Parshat Yitro. Many different themes in Yitro, but of course the main one is the giving of the 10 commandments. You could see the Torah reading here on the screen, and I'll be chanting the first aliyah, the first of the commandments. It's actually just commandments 1 and 2. 2 is a very long one. Amen. Vaydaber Elohim et kol hadvarim ha'ele lemor. Anochi Adonai Elohecha asher hotzeiticha me'eretz Mitzrayim meveit avadim. Lo taseh li pesel b'chol tmunah asher b'shamayim mimal v'asher ba'aretz mitachat v'asher b'mayim mitachat la'aretz lo tishtachaveh lahem v'lo tavdeh ki anochi Adonai Elohecha Elkanah Poked Avon Avot Al Banim Al Shleshim Va'al Reveim Letzonotam Va'oseh Chesed La'alafim La'ohavai U'Leshomrei Mitzvotai. And Sarah.
One moment. Sorry about that, Sarah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu torat emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Thank you so much, Sarah. And Sarah, of course, we remember how you read Torah too at our retreats. And God willing, we're going to have another retreat soon together in person, and you'll be reading Torah there too. I trust you're well, and thank you so much for stepping up. Our second aliyah is second aliyah is a Mishaberach aliyah. So as we're chanting, if you had not sent in a name of someone you want to say a Mishaberach for, please put it in the chat. Otherwise, if you did write down names, they will come up in a few moments. Right now, we're asking Susie Uray to come forward for the blessings of the second aliyah. Susie is a past president, longtime generous supporter of Lev Eisha, and this aliyah is in memory of her late parents, Beatrice and Morris Horowitz, Aleichem Shalom. Susie.
Okay. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam vahed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. And now the second aliyah will be placed on screen share. We're doing the 3rd through the 10th commandments.
I know.
There'll be a quiz afterwards. An A is all 10 commandments. A B gets you 7, etc. I'd be curious if anyone can actually say the 10 and if anybody can say them in order. 3rd commandment. Amen. Lo tisa et Shem Adonai Elohecha lashav ki lo yinakeh Adonai et asher yisa et shemo lashav. Zachor et Yom HaShabbat lekadsho sheshet yamim ta'avod v'asita kol melachtecha v'yom hashvi'i Shabbat l'Adonai Elohecha lo taseh kol melacha atah uvincha uvitecha Abdecha, v'amatecha, uvehemtecha, v'gercha, asher b'sharecha, ki sheshet yamim. Asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz ve'et hayam ve'et kol asher b'ham v'yanach b'yom hashvi'i. Okay. Beirach Adonai et Yom HaShabbat v'yikadshehu. Kabed et avicha ve'et imecha lema'an yerachun yamecha ahal hadamaha asher Adonai Elohecha noten lach. Lo tirtzach, lo tin'av, lo tigno, lo ta'aneh bereacha ha'ed shaker, lo tachmod beit re'echa, lo tachmod eshet re'echa, v'yavdo v'amato v'shoro v'chamoro, V'chol asher l're'echa. And we continue with Susie and the blessing after the Torah.
I also wanted to share this with my silent partner in the congregation today, my sister Shelley Cushions. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'hayei olam notah b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Yesher Koach, and hello to Shelley. We're so glad you joined us. We're going to continue now with a screen share of the Misha Berach names, and other names are in the chat. And we're going to sing the Misha Berach. If you'd like to rise, please do so. If not, stay seated. And we sing together the Misha Berach prayer ending.
Misha Berach Avotenu. Misha Berach Avotenu. Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Sarah Rivka, Rachel Leah, ויברך וירפא את החולים. מי שברך אבותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, שרה, רבקה, רחל ולאה, הוא יברך וירפא את החולים. אל נא רפא לה, אל נא רפא לה, אל נא רפא לה, אל נא רפא לה, אל נא רפא לה. מי שברך אבותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, שרה, רבקה, רחל ולאה, הוא יברך וירפא את החולים.
Hashta uva agala vizman kari v'nomar amen. We ask that God bring forward all the healers, the doctors and nurses and health providers who will bring our loved ones back to healing hurriedly in our time, and we say amen. And now, please be seated if you're standing. We're going to put up a list of the birthdays. We're so grateful for milestones in our lives. And Yom Huledet Sameach to all these birthday people, wonderful members of Lev Eisha. Yom Huledet Sameach. And we have one more screen to share. We've been so blessed with generosity and support for Lev Eisha. We could not do this without you. Here is a list of our donors this past month. Again, if your name is on here, just send them to Rose and they'll be put up for next month. Kol HaKavod, we thank you for sharing what you have with us to allow us to continue to bring uplift and joy and comfort and healing for everyone. Amen, amen. Yesher Koach, thank you.
Rabbi, I did manage to find Irene, so I wanted to thank her as well and apologize for that error.
And where is Eileen? Can we spotlight her?
Here she is.
Eileen, I don't see her. There she is. Okay, so I want to say, Eileen, we're saying prayers for healing for Eileen also. She had back surgery, and we're grateful that she's healing. Yom yom la'at la'ad, every day a little better. So Eileen, Rifuah Shlema, a complete healing hurriedly soon in our time. And we're sorry you didn't get a chance to say the blessings. We'll put you down for next month, okay?
Because I couldn't get it unmuted.
You know what? This is what happens. Next time, just see if you could put it in the chat and Maddie will help you. We have a lot of people who can't seem to unmute, myself included. It's good to see you, and I'm glad you're with us, and thank you again for your generous support. We're going to continue now with Rabbi's sermon. I guess that's me. And Maddie, when I tell you, you'll put up the screen share, but not yet. So again, I shared with you the theme today, in addition to love, is the idea of emunah, of relationship. And what better relay, and emunah, which is faith, is all about being in relationship, even if it's just in relationship with ourselves. So what better way to understand emunah and relationship than to read the 10 Commandments? What is the 10 Commandments? In English, we call it revelation. I actually never knew this until I went to rabbinical school, that in the scholarship, in academic articles, when you want to talk about the 10 Commandments, it's called revelation. Big words, revelation, redemption, all kinds of big words. Revelation means God revealing God's self to the Israelites. In Hebrew, if you're reading a Jewish an article in the scholarly journals in Hebrew, the giving of the 10 Commandments is called Ma'amad Har Sinai, the standing at Mount Sinai. So it's actually the presence of the children of Israel standing there on the mountain. I'm sorry, I'm just having a problem with seeing those lights in my eyes. So I'm getting rid of the light. Thank you. When we come to Shavuot, which is the time of the giving of the commandments, we say Zaman Matan Toratenu, the time of the giving of the Torah. Another term for God's revealing God's self is called a theophany. And this is what it was like. It's an appearance of God, but it's not that God is then stays in one place forever. It's a sudden appearance, temporary, very ephemeral, and God reveals God's self and then gone. But we know that the giving of the 10 Commandments had a long theophany. And I want you to imagine this. You are simply 7 weeks. Remember, we count the Omer from the Exodus to Shavuot, 7 weeks, 50 days. You're 50 days out of slavery, and you're told that you're going to meet your God. And 1 million slaves, including women and children, all of them standing at the foot of Mount Sinai, waiting in anticipation. Can you imagine? Before God appeared, what do you think they were thinking? And it's curious because what did they know of God? Pharaoh told the people that he was God. Pharaoh, the leader of Egypt, was considered a god. And so the idea of God was an oppressor, someone who did evil, killing all the babies, throwing them into the Nile. People worked 24/7, no free time. It was the most terrible situation. And that's what the ancient Israelites knew about God. So now, what are they going to expect? So the first thing that happened is God put on quite a show. All of the senses were involved. Visually, if you read in the Torah, what they saw was like a volcano. It was like a furnace burning. So we saw fire coming out the top of Mount Sinai. And then audibly, what you heard was thunder. You saw the lightning too, but you also saw they said the children of Israel like saw the thunder. It was a synesthesia where your senses got all mixed up. And then there was a shofar blowing, a blast of the shofar blowing continuously. So thunder, lightning, a big show of fire. And all this was happening. And you could smell it then. So your sense of smell, because you smelled the fire and the ashes and then you also almost can taste it. It was so insane. The importance of revelation, that it was a sign. And the sign was taking the children of Israel from a level they knew to another level. So it began with this sensory overload, which created a sense of fear and dread. It's called yirah. But yirah is also a sense of awe. So you get to awe sometimes through fear. So first, the children of Israel said, no, Moses, you go talk to God. We can't handle this. And Moses actually received the 10 Commandments by himself. But from that, we got a sense of awe, of the awareness of the magnificence of God. So it was an oat. It was a sign of God, this time of standing at the bottom of Mount Sinai. But oat is also a word for otiot, a letter of an alphabet. And God created the 10 Commandments with letters from the alphabet. God's self with God's finger carved them on the 2 tablets made of stone. And this is also a sign of God's presence. So God's presence, the oat, was in the theophany. the appearance on top of the mountain, but also God's presence, the oath was in the letters written down on the tablets. That was the reality of God's presence in the world. So what happened during the Ten Commandments this time? Of course, we know the children of Israel lost it and built the golden calf. There was too much time, 40 days on the mountain. Moses should have just taken those commandments and come right down. Some people said Moses just was in a state of deep introspection and meditation with God on top of that mountain. When he came down, Michelangelo says there was two horns. They say there was beams of light coming out of his head. So whatever happened with Moses on top of the mountain was just too long for the Israelites. But for that moment that the Israelites got it and they understood it, they had a moment of epiphany. The veils will pour back, the seven heavens were revealed. For a second almost, you got the truth of God's existence. And we all have these moments in our lives. What is the truth? What is the Ma'amad Har Sinai experience? What is theophany, revelation? A moment of truth that God exists. And what does that mean? It's an existential truth. We are not alone in this world. There is a God, Ahava Rabbah, who loves us with enduring love. And the Israelites sensed it and knew it. And this experience lasted forever. And that's why when we read the Ten Commandments in temple, we ask everyone to stand as if you're there. And in the Passover Seder, we sing, Bechol dor vador, Yeh Adam ki ilu hu yatsa mitzrayim, as if you were there. Always try to feel that moment and know the fundamental truths about having an ultimate reality of God in our world is that there's foundational justice, foundational a compass of morality in our lives. That God is a God that will help bring the arc of the world to justice, forgiveness, and kindness, and all those things that matter. So in our lives too, we have moments of revelation, sometimes during prayer. Many of you might have felt it today during your Amidah, private prayer. Sometimes all of us come to a sense of the source of reality. Being in nature, rites of passage, birth, marriage, moments of death of loved ones. There's a story in a moment of this understanding that we are not alone. At my retreat over the last 3 days, I was with 83 rabbis and our wonderful, beautiful teacher, Malila from Israel. And she was teaching Zelda and Leah Goldberg and Yehuda Amichai and other, we did Zohar, and we did so many other deep teachings, but it was all about faith and emunah and moments of Ten Commandments, moments of theophany and revelation. When in our lives do we sense the awe in the world, the holiness, the mystery, and the beauty? So we're going to ask Maddie now to put up a second poem of Zelda. And this one moves us from the dry bread to something so much deeper and beautiful. And after this poem, we'll be in breakout groups so you can speak to one another. This poem was written by Zelda in the 1967. That's when it was published. She lived to 1984. She didn't start publishing till she was 56 years old. She has a beautiful story in history, and study her a little bit. Google it, look it up, and at some point, if you want to, God willing, we can have some time together, studying together. So the poem is called, I'm going to read it once in Hebrew, actually, before reading English. And I just ask you to take it in. I didn't put the Hebrew up there. It's very short. Then I'll read the English, and then I'm going to go over it with a little commentary. So it's called The Delicate Light of My Peace. Parpar, Yamav began Eden, Davak beperech shezarati, Bastav, Otiot shel mala bechinafav haketumot, Simanim shel Yah. Basimanim ha'ele, sheneged einai tavu bechalal, Rif Reif ha'or hadak shel Shlomi. A butterfly hailing from paradise clung to the flower I planted in autumn. Letters from on high, on its golden wings, signs of God. In these signs that drowned in space before my eyes, fluttered the delicate light of my peace. Now remember, we're talking about signs of the presence of God within nature, and these signs lead to a moment of awe and an acknowledgement of faith, belief in a relationship, in the presence of God with yourself, belief in relationships with yourself and others, and with the world around you. So now let me interpret a little bit as we read. A butterfly hailing from paradise. Now in the Hebrew, it's Gan Eden, which means it's coming from the heavens, from a transcendent place, a supernal place. It's not just from any paradise, but from God's paradise, Gan Eden, where we were before God wanted us to be and be an agent, have agency in this world. So this butterfly clung to the flower I planted. The word clung, remember, Zelda was a Hasidic, was brought up in Hasidism. She's a second cousin of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. She had a very rich tradition. She was a genius, and she had a rich tradition of Hasidism and of mysticism. And of course, she was Orthodox and knew Midrash and Talmud and Halacha. So when you use the word davek, which davak here, which she used, it's divekut, and it's not just clung like we have in English, but the word davak is a very incredible word. It's in the Torah. We say it in the Torah service too. Va'atem hadvekim b'Adonai aleichem. It's from Deuteronomy. Chayim kulchem hayom. You who cling to God will live a long life. And in our prayer book, we just sang Ahava Rapa, Ava V'da Habek Libeinu b'mitzvotecha. Let our hearts cling to you so we can do mitzvot. And in mysticism and Chassidut, we yearn for a state of divekut, which is a clinging and a closeness to God. So here it's kind of a strange thing that she's doing. It said that the butterfly was in divekut, clinging to this flower. Normally humans cling to God, but in her poem it's reversed. Here it's God's agent, the butterfly, which is God's presence in earth, or an oat, a sign of God's presence in earth. The butterfly is clinging to the flower planted by humanity. So it's a curious play on the understanding of Devekut. So it's not only us clinging to God, but sometimes if we don't have the presence of God, we can find it somewhere else on something we planted. We planted the flower and God sent the butterfly to help us to find God in the world. And it also reminds us there's interdependence. It's called itaruta dilatata and itaruta dilamala. In Hasidism, there's a constant understanding. Sometimes God needs to be aroused by our actions below, which arouses God to send shefa, overflow of blessings to this world. Sometimes God does it first and arouses us, and sometimes we need to do it to arouse below. And in this poem, it was God sending the butterfly, but it was our planting of the flower that allowed the butterfly to appear and cling to that flower. We continue. So letters from on high. Letters from on high, all of us know, are the letters that God carved on the tablets. But this time you see the picture that I put there of the butterfly. She's saying those signs on the butterfly, the black markings on this butterfly, for her, in her moment of wonder, those to her were letters from God, letters of what God, in the Kabbalah, God used letters to create the world. So these are letters from God on the butterfly, reminding us that God created this world, reminding us we're in relationship, reminding us we're not alone. And these letters, simanim, signs, ot, were drowned in space before her eyes because the butterfly flew away. So they were like, they were so delicate, they just kind of disappeared, drowned in space. and they fluttered like the fluttering of the wings. Some people say it's a shimmering. The letters were shimmering and there was a fluttering. So as the butterfly flew away, she took a deep breath and she found her moment of tranquility, her moment of peace. In the midst of this chaotic world of doubt and uncertainty, she found out who she was, and she found her moment of beauty and her moment of peace. So I hope you enjoyed this poem. We'll have a chance to talk to each other. And right now we're going to go into the breakout rooms, and let's look at the questions first. I'd like you, if you can, just share your reactions to the poem. And then there's one question that I didn't do for you. I want you to talk for a moment among yourselves and then share with me when you come back. What is the importance that she planted this flower in autumn? And she put the word stav, autumn, just one word on a line. So it's actually very important. Flowers are usually planted in spring, but Dafka told us she planted in autumn. What do you think that's about? And the next question is, I can't read the question because you're chatting. All right, let me put away the chat. Okay. The third question is, what do the signs reveal to the speaker in the poem? And I'd like you, if you can, to share a time when you too had a moment of peace and tranquility in nature. So you'll be put into breakout rooms right now, and we'll see you in almost 10 minutes, a few minutes to get in, to talk. Make sure, please, you give everybody chance. Don't hog the time, and let everybody talk, and we'll see you back soon.
I'm going to open the breakout rooms. Just a reminder that with 1 minute left, you'll all get a notification that the rooms have closed and you have a minute to return to the main room. Please don't touch anything. Just let the countdown timer reach 0 and you'll be returned to the room automatically. I also put the poem and the prompt in the chat, so you should have that when you go into your rooms. Have a great discussion. Ready.
I want to welcome everybody back. I trust you enjoyed your conversations, your schmoozing, your insights. I'd like to just share for a moment the flower in autumn, and some of my group also shared some of their ideas. The idea of planting a flower in autumn is an act of faith, our theme. It's in defiance of winter. When you plant in autumn, there's a confidence and anticipation that there will be a renewal in the spring, even if it's planted so late. And then the flower will be, and for her, then the flower will be available. It's almost like she was preparing the flower to receive the butterfly. She knew after a long winter, she needed signs from God to come. And the connection to God's paradise, the Garden of Eden, and the speaker. So this autumn planting is her act of having a garden on earth, a little bit of God's garden above. Cindy is now going to introduce a beautiful song that she's going to sing now called Better Times Will Come, also part of our theme for today.
Shabbat Shalom. Janice Ian said, music's not about perfection. It's about getting through the hard times and celebrating the good. On April 8th, 2020, Janice wrote this song and suggested that her colleagues who had just lost all of their 2020 shows due to the pandemic should make versions of her new song and put them online on YouTube to help create social awareness. And now there are versions from punk to American Sign Language to Japanese, Yiddish, Hebrew. Over 100 artists have put up versions of this song, Better Times Will Come. It's called the Better Times Will Come Project, if you want to look online to see about it. And all of these versions were done from lockdown and quarantine with birds and dogs and children in the background. Doesn't matter. What matters is that we enjoy, give voice to it, and remember that someday better times will come. And just last week, Fran Avni and a few of women cantors put up a Hebrew version, Od Yavo Zman Tov Yoter, Kesheha'olam Ilmad Lichiot Ke'echad, Yavo Zman Tov Yoter. But we're going to sing it in English. but check it out. And this is a way to support a lot of artists that were struggling since the pandemic and with their music and learn about them. So many versions. Better times will come. Better times will come. When this world learns to live as one, oh, better times will come. Better times will come. Better times will come. When this world learns to live as one, oh, better times will come. When we greet each dawn without fear, knowing loved ones soon will be near. When the winds of war cannot blow anymore, oh, better times will come. Better times will come. Better times will come. When this world learns to live as one, oh, better times will come. Though we live each day as our last, we know someday soon it will pass. We will dance, we will sing in that never-ending spring. Oh, better times will come. Better times will come. Better times will come. When this world learns to live as one, oh, better times will come. Oh, better times will come.
Oh, Cindy, that was wonderful. So hopeful, upbeat. So much for our
Check it out
theme.
online. Better times will come project. Look online and you'll see.
And then Linda's wife just said halavai, halavai. We're going to now close up the Torah service with page 40, singing Eitz Chaim Hi on page 40.
Eitz Chaim Hi למחזיקים בה ותומכיה מאושר דרכיה דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיה שלום השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל לתת גדולה לארצי בראשית שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה שלא שם חלקנו כהם וגורלנו ככל המונם ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר היה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Koach, thank you. Please be seated. Before we say Mourner's Kaddish, we're inviting Cheryl Katzowitz to come forward. The Jewish world and the whole world suffered a great loss this past week, and Cheryl will tell us who this was.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Abraham Twersky was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin in 1930. His family descended from a great Chernobyl Russian Hasidic dynasty. Although ordained as a rabbi at the young age of 21, he didn't see his life as a performer of ritual. So he went to medical school to become a psychiatrist, to do what he really wanted to do as a rabbi. Rabbi Twersky's clinical career specialized in addiction, and much of his popular writings concern self-improvement and ethical behavior. He merged the Jewish ethics and morality movement known as Mussar, the 12-step program of Alcoholics Anonymous, and ideas from clinical psychology to treat many people in the groundbreaking hospital he founded, Gateways Rehabilitation Center in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Prior to his work, the 12-step recovery program was thought to be a Christian movement due to its Christian origins. Drug and alcohol addiction was not a Jewish problem, it was a non-Jewish problem. Rabbi Twersky changed all that and removed the stigma around addiction and recovery for thousands of Jews worldwide. In Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, he discovered the kind of sincerity and selflessness often absent from synagogues, and he was moved by the examples of men and women who would willingly be awakened in the middle of the night to go out and help a fellow alcoholic. Recovering alcoholics, Twersky observed, will often exhibit a sense of responsibility far greater to that of the non-alcoholic in relation to their families, friends, and God. Rabbi Twersky wrote over 60 books on Judaism and self-help topics. He also broke down barriers and taboos about psychiatry and abuse within the Orthodox community when his groundbreaking work, written in the 1990s, The Shame Born in Silence. I'll sum up the greatness of this man with this quote. If we took the effort to realize what we really are, the strength and the capacity and the wonderful traits that we have, and develop them to the fullest, then we would be happy. And the more we are aware of our strengths and abilities, the greater is our obligation to fulfill them. On January 31st, at the age of 90, Rabbi Twersky succumbed to COVID in Jerusalem, Israel. Although the funeral was limited to the number of people who could attend in person, it is estimated that over 14,000 people streamed the funeral and watched. May his memory be a blessing and his life work live on in all of those he not only touched, but saved.
Yesher Koach, Cheryl, thank you very much. You summed it up brilliantly. And may his wisdom and inspiration continue to light up so many lives. The memory of Rabbi Dr. Abraham Twersky shall always be a blessing. We're going to continue now with Mourner's Kaddish. Please know that if you did not send your words in, your names in advance, please put them in the chat now so we see the people that you are saying Kaddish for. Mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 41. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah, bi'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'zman karib v'yamru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam u'liomei amaya. Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudashah b'rechu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata, damiram bi'alma v'yamru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramar, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yamru amen. May God comfort and sustain all those who mourn, and we say amen. And we're ready now to hear from our president and from the board, Carol Wispy Burns.
Shabbat Shalom, and thank you again for welcoming Lev into your home. To anyone joining us for the first time, we welcome and invite you to join us again. With love in our hearts, we thank Rabbi August and Cindy for continuing to enrich our spiritual selves. We appreciate Robin signing the Viahafta. Thank you, Maddie, for your technical expertise. We are grateful to all of our donors who support our services and events. A special thank you to our sponsors today, Lorraine Factor, in honor of her birthday, and Irene Pereira in memory of her mother, Bessie Waldman's yahrzeit, and Susie Uri in memory of her parents, Beatrice and Morris Hurwitz. Anyone honoring a loved one through a donation, please indicate that when you're making your donation. We are still accepting memberships. Please see the website levishaw.org for membership and donations and to view past virtual programs and services. Share the love of Lev with your friends. During this challenging time of COVID, we have additional teachings and services to connect with our Lev community and provide some spiritual balance. This month, we don't have any additional events, but look forward to events for the rest of our year. Cindy Paley actually invites us all to a folk music sing-along tomorrow at 3 p.m. You can email her directly at cindypaleymusic@gmail.com. The 10 Commandments are powerful words. Growing up in the 60s, my fashionable, well-bouffanted mother added an 11th amendment, thou shalt not touch my hair. I prefer to stick with the original 10. I wish more people would adhere to these. Maybe then we would be surrounded by a bit more love and faith. Faith and love fuel me every day to persevere our new normal. Take the love in your heart and reach out and turn it into kindness. Be safe, be well, take good care of yourselves. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you. Her bouffant hair. I want to see a picture, Carol. I don't want to say that Carol made a mistake, but we do have on Thursday, February 17th, either Wednesday or Thursday, you'll get some information. I'm doing a class from 12 to 1:15 on great women written out of history in the modern times. So please join us. That will be a lot of fun. We're going to continue now with our thank you again for attending. And Carol said thank you to everybody. We're so glad you're here. And this means so much to all of us every month. So we're going to conclude with Tefillat HaDerech, a prayer for the journey. You'll find it on the back cover of the prayer books.
Okay. Just a little correction. It's a Yiddish folk singing this time, not a, the other one was, some of you were there for our folk music sing-along. That was last 2 weeks ago. We can close with Tefillat HaDerech, guide our steps, light our way, help us be strong to life, lechayim, to joy, lesimcha, missing you, Joy Krauthammer, and to peace, leshalom. Guide our steps, light our way, help us be strong, lechayim, lesimcha, uleshalom. I think it's gonna get high, so I'm gonna bring it down for you. Guide our steps, light our way, help us be strong, lechayim, lesimcha, uleshalom. Keep the ones whom we love secure from the storm, lechayim, lesimcha, uleshalom. Lechayim, lesimcha, uleshalom. Lechayim, lesimcha, uleshalom. Bless the work we have done, all our hopes, all our dreams.
לשמחה ולשלום. Watch over us as we go, and in peace bring us home. לחיים, לשמחה ולשלום. לחיים, לשמחה ולשלום. לחיים, לשמחה ולשלום. Bless the work we have done, all our hopes, all our dreams. לחיים, לשמחה ולשלום. Watch over us as we go, and in peace bring us home. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. We're going to unmute. Thank you so much, Cindy. We love you. We're going to unmute now and say Shabbat Shalom to everybody. Cheryl, thank you again. Please